Welcome to this episode of Clean Up in Business. I'm your host, 𝗘𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗲, and today I have a guest. Glenn Walford is his name, and he is an expert in all things content marketing. He has a business called 𝗘𝗽𝗶𝘀𝗲𝗏, as well as a business related. Well, actually, what do you do, Glenn? So that'd be a good question.
Thank you, Dame. Thanks for inviting me, mate. Much appreciated. In the first episode, it's fantastic. And I'm normally on the other end of a podcast doing asking the questions. So it's good not to have to be worried about all the questions to ask today, mate. What we do is I primarily focus in franchise marketing, and that's how we came across each other, obviously. But and over those years, so we've done lead generation for some of the biggest and smallest brands in the Australian marketplace. Our business, 𝗘𝗽𝗶𝘀𝗲𝗏.com.au, started as a magazine way back in 2011, and then we've gone through to website lead generation, and then evolved through that with a lot of video marketing, which is primarily the content we do. Very early on, started doing video, YouTube channel and stuff in about 2013. So I'd like to be thinking of myself as a bit of an early adopter with that sort of stuff, but there was certainly plenty of people doing it before me there. But and now we pretty much focus on a lot of social related video content, podcasting and that sort of thing for many franchise brands, but also general small businesses as well.
Yeah, right. How did your business get into doing what it does today?
Well, I suppose mainly now, so I was so glad to get out of being in a print magazine. I don't know, you've written a book, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, I'm sure that was, how joyous was that?
Oh, it was a joy a minute, writing that book,
Yeah, so it's a challenge. So I always had a saying, so I felt like we were a bit late on the party with Franchise Buyer because we launched it as a magazine, because that's what you did in 2011. There were still people buying places in print. But what I saw pretty early on in the process is that pretty much, even to today, everyone loves to be in print, loves to be in a magazine, but no one wants to pay to be in a magazine. Okay, so that's a problem if you've got a business around it. Right. So we transitioned out of doing magazines. So we obviously had our classified type website, which lists franchises for sale and does a lot of content about franchises and their features and benefits, basically, and editorial content about franchise brands. And then we started moving into video production for that, because I could see that video was really becoming the way to get your message across to the world. And when we started our YouTube channel for Franchise Buyer in I think it was around 2013, I think we've got nearly 1,000 videos in there at the moment about varying franchise brands. You'll still see my early ones on there. Me with a shaky camera walking around, interviewing people like yourself who with franchise brands and franchise companies are trying to convince them that they need to do videos on YouTube. And it was a long haul. I'll tell you, it was a long grind to get people to want to be on camera. I mean, I don't know, people don't love being on camera, mostly.
Yeah, mostly, unless you're built different, as my daughter would say. So
it's a great line. But yeah, and it's true, is that mostly people and my take on it is that, and this applies to small businesses as well, anyone, if you want your business to be successful, people need to trust you. And then to trust you, they need to know you. So you've got to put your face to your business. I was always stunned that these franchise brands in my field where I was working in were trying to convince people, or trying to expect or ask people to, invest anything from $50,000 to $1 million into a franchise concept, rather than going out and doing it themselves. But then when you went to their websites and you had a look at their window to the world, or their shop front, which is their website, there wasn't a person on it. It was a brand. It was all about a brand, but there was no actual person behind it. So if you were interested in joining that business, you couldn't see who the executives were. You couldn't see anything about people involved in it, because everyone wanted to do things hands off, and just have the business do all the talking for you. And that was fine for many years. We were able to do that, but certainly not the case today. There is so much information out there on individual brands, individual people and everything there, that if you don't create content about your brand, it's the same with a small business. If you're not creating content about your brand, someone else will be creating content about your brand. Most likely, the most common content created about your brand is negative content. Yeah. Bad reviews, things went bad. No one creates, like for Urban Clean, no one creates my cleaning job was great. They cleaned it so well. But they will for bad if something goes bad.
Yeah. So do you find today that most people are on the front foot with marketing, or do the majority of businesses still struggle with actually getting this type of video content, or have you missed the boat kind of thing? Because Gary Vee, he was talking about this, over a decade
Oh, well
ago.
and truly.
And a lot of people did start doing a lot of content marketing, video content marketing. Is the market saturated? Is there too many voices? Are most businesses already doing this? I mean, you would know because you're at the front.
The answer is there is a lot of content out there, and with tools and AI and everything, that content is just going to keep building. There's no doubt. But if you think about it as a small business or even as a franchise, if you think about it from the customer's perspective, that customer is engaging with you at your local level. So is there too much content from you at a local level? No. There might be too much content if you are a fridge repair shop. There might be someone doing fridge repair stuff on all sorts of social channels and heaps of them out there, but in your local area. Okay, so it's no different. You're still targeting people in your local area. Your catchment hasn't changed, but your method of delivering your message and distributing your message through different channels has changed. And in fact, it's got easier and better. It's so easy to just do a video yourself. You do it on your phone. We do video production and everything, and we film all sorts of places, but you actually don't need to. The cameras on modern phones are so good. The sound generally is pretty good as well, although I always prefer people to use mics, but sound is still good. As long as you've got decent lighting and you've got a story to tell or some information to give, get on it and do it. There is not enough, because what we do see, and I know we're both big fans of Gary Vee, what we do see, and Gary Vee talks about it, is people who start with all the best intentions, do this surge, and we see it even in franchise brands, do a surge of content and then nothing.
Yeah, I've never been guilty of that.
No, you've never been. Well, this is the thing. But if you go on to many sites, even franchise brands who are coming to us and talking about wanting to do things, so small business owners, stop being so harsh on yourselves. You think, oh, I never get to do this, or I haven't done this, I haven't done that. You have no idea how many franchise brands that you look at who have, say, approached us and say, hey, can you help us with content? I look at it and I see they haven't posted a video on YouTube for a year or 2 years, or they last posted on Instagram 4 months ago or something. It is really much more common than you think. Many people would probably think that all of these larger businesses have got it all together, and they just simply don't. They simply don't.
So what you're saying is that there still is a big opportunity, especially at the local market, for small businesses or franchises to focus in on creating content, creating how-to videos, or talking to, just because people want to know about people's businesses. Because otherwise it's a mystery, isn't it? You just see a website, you see some logos, you see maybe some smiling faces on a website, but who are they? What are the real people? What do they do?
And this is the thing. It's an important point, and it's true, is that create the content, put it out there, just be informative and be helpful. So you can create, let's use the fridge one, for example, because that's a fairly random type of one, right? Maybe it's a fridge seal repair shop. I mean, if we were to look right now and you type in fridge seal repair into TikTok, there'll be videos about how to repair someone's fridge, without a doubt, or hacks of how to do it at home. And when you talk about how-tos, they're little hacks. People consume this sort of information. People think these social media channels, especially older people, right? So people, even in my vintage, 40 plus, people will think that you hear people say, oh, I hate social media. You generally, the older generation, oh, I can't stand it. It's so boring. It's so useless. And the old thing they used to say about YouTube, all the cat videos and stuff, which is so stupid. But the thing is now that those don't view them, as a small business owner, do not view them as silly platforms where people are just watching shorts and reels and funny videos and people crashing and laughing and stuff like that. They are literally search engines. Those platforms are search engines. People, depending on what demographic you are, choose whether it's TikTok or they're going to Facebook or they're going to, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. Yeah. If you want to find something out, you'll either go to Google or you go to YouTube, where if you're under 20, you probably go to TikTok and you type in that thing into TikTok and it'll come up. So you've got to think, as a small business owner, if you're putting some form of content in there to your area, and you localize, you put in keywords in there, hashtags in there that relate to the thing that people might be searching for. And you can find all this information out on how-tos on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and say, how do I dominate with TikTok in my local area? Or whatever it may be. You can do any search. There's so much information out there. But absolutely create the content role. And Gary Vee would say, just create, keep going.
What do you see as the biggest mistakes small businesses make when they start on this journey of content marketing?
they've got to start with. And I think it's fantastic when someone starts. Even when you see a video and you think, oh, gosh, that wasn't very good. But I immediately think, so the negative part of people could go, oh, God, how terrible is that? But you need to flip that and say, good on them for doing it and trying and starting somewhere, because 90% of other people don't. Yeah. All right? So they just stay doing what they're doing.
So there's a competitive advantage just by
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
Because 90%, as you say, don't do anything.
They just don't do anything. Even some of the biggest brands out there. Some of the biggest brands out there are so caught up in agency land, right? So they work with these bigger agencies. And I don't know, I've had a little bit to do with some of the agencies, not a whole heap, but a little bit to do over the years in some of these bigger accounts that they get. And they become like a trap in there. They don't want any other work to go out to anyone, because every dollar that goes out to anyone else is one less dollar spent with them. And that's just what they're like. They're protecting their turf. And besides, if they go and work with that person, maybe they will see, gee, that person was better than what I was getting over here, so I don't want to introduce them to that person. So it's not true value of a client that they're after. They're not after true value add to their client. They just want to keep protecting their account. And that's what I see. So with businesses, I would say that probably the biggest challenge is consistency. So it's consistent. So with the small business, the mistake that people make is, like I mentioned before, they start with a surge in content because they're all enthusiastic. Maybe they've been to a workshop or a conference, one of those sell from stage events, run back your stage, get all this information, join our membership club, and you start doing content and doing everything they said. That wanes. It's like if you read a book on marketing, you're all go for a couple of weeks, and then reality starts to hit in, because people want to see results really, really fast. The truth is, you will see some impact of some of your content, but maybe you won't. Maybe you won't for a while. Maybe you'll wait 1 month, 2 months, 3 months before you start getting some traction with what you're doing. But you've got to think about it. There's a learning curve to it as well. So that first month, maybe those videos really aren't very good. But probably not. But so there's no doubt you might have trouble getting some traction with them. But as you get better and better and better and keep doing them, you will just get better at it, and therefore you'll get better audience engagement, you'll get better views, and then that just keeps feeding the algorithm, and you'll just keep rolling. So that's the biggest thing I say is surge content. Everyone starts like that, and then you have problems with consistency after that, and that's where you start having gaps of 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then they might read another book, or they might go to another workshop, and then they go at it again.
Another spurt of activity.
Yep. So it's like that.
So how does someone counteract that? Like, what do you do? So if that's a big problem, what do you see that businesses or clients of yours in the past have done to make sure they get rid of that big splurge of activity and consistently produce content?
I think, so if you've got to commit to it, you've got to be committed to it and realise that it's a key part of your business. Okay. So, and I mean, how can it not be? How can not be getting the message out about your business and what it does and how well it does it? How can that not be a key part of your business? Yeah. But people seem to find other things to go into. People get caught up in the day-to-day. They go, oh, no, we'll go and do the thing. They'll stay on the tools, It's the person who stays on the tools rather than working on their business and growing it. The principles are all the same, like Michael Gerber with his 𝗖Myth, work on the business rather than in the business. Nothing has changed with that. So it's on the business, not in the business, is exactly the same issue with marketing. And it becomes even more so when marketing becomes a little scary because it becomes complex and technical and for young people. And you see young people making TikToks and all that sort of stuff. And you think, well, I can't do that. Well, you don't need to. You don't need to dance on it. You don't need to do all that sort of stuff. Just create something that's of value to people who might be in your audience. That fridge sealant person, who are the types of people that walk in your door and need help with that? What could you tell them? What hacks could you give them to prolong the life of their seals? How could you keep their seals cleaner? How do you have, fridge hygiene, let's call it? How can you make sure your fridge smells better? The old, bicarb soda or something, all these little tips and hacks that we all have in our industries that we work in. You can put them in little tiny how-to videos that you could do with your phone. So it's committed, getting started, and you don't need to throw dollars at it. But if you actually want to have some serious success, you probably are going to have to put some dollars towards it. Perhaps you need people like us or whoever go to a freelance website to get someone to come out and help you with video. If you want to do something a bit more complex, maybe you've got no idea how to start it. Well, get someone to come out and assist you. You can go onto freelancer.com, or any of those, or Upwork, whatever it may be, or even Fiverr or Airtasker. Type in videographer to help with social media, and they might come out and do it for $200.
Yeah. So you're looking at getting rid of all the friction around actually doing it, and then committing to that process. And it is a bit like what you say. So it's working on your business, not working in your business. And then there's that other business concept of, a decision matrix around your tasks. So you've got the important and urgent, important and not urgent, and then distraction, and then things that are important but urgent but not important. And so, and then you say, well, look, content creation, because you may not see an immediate return. I think that's what business owners often do. They want to spend some dollars in advertising.
Because you being an owner yourself, you'd see it.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, I want to see, how many people responded to my ad, or how many people, if I do this, what happens tomorrow or today?
Yep.
And if you see that immediate response, you're like, oh, this works, or this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas content creation is something that builds over time. Obviously, you get better at doing that, but also then it's cumulative, and you may not see the results of that activity until 6 months or 12 months down the track.
Exactly. If you think of, and in some ways, modern social media marketing or modern marketing has caused this problem, because modern social media marketing through Meta or whatever, you can get an instant response and you can determine if it's working right now. Yeah. So that's the vehicle. But the fuel to that is content. So if you took great content and put that into Meta, then you're going to get a better response and you're going to get a faster response. So even if you're getting a good response off bad content, put in good content, it's going to go even faster and it's going to perform even better. And your cost per click is going to be even lower. So this is the thing, is that really it all comes back to effective content that is hitting the target market with the achievements that you're targeting for. And then all those other spots are just distribution channels, finding where's the audience that you are with. The sealed fridge guy or girl is probably Facebook. Probably not TikTok, but there's nothing. There are platforms now, with the small business owners that realize it or not, there are platforms now where you can load in all of your social media channels. And I think I've spoken to you about this. You load in all your social media channels and you upload the one piece of content once into it, and it goes out to all of them like that. So there are ways you can do it and spread it with, so you're not exactly spreading time resources to go to each actual platform, but you can actually leverage it a little bit there.
Okay, so you can save some time on those things. So that leads to another question I've got about that, which is, if someone, say, has that commitment, so they're like, okay, for 12 months, I'm going to be producing this content. I'm going to do how-to videos. I'm going to do, how to, like the fridge guy, for instance. I'm going to put, how to make sure my fridge smells nice, when to know my seal is going, whatever, all those things. Or this is how we put seals in, and these are the best makes of fridges that, last a long, all that sort of valuable content for their audience. And let's say they keep doing that for, say, 3 months, 6 months, and they still haven't seen a return. And by a return, I think for most business owners, that means, inquiries. Like, okay, people are asking them, can you seal my fridge? I saw your thing. You work in my local area. Can you come out and fix my fridge seal? How does a business owner know that they're on the right track? They should keep on doing what they're doing. When is there a point where they say, this is not working, I need to pull up stumps or redirect my efforts? Or what's the indicators? How do they know it works or it doesn't work for them?
Well, it's a good question. You have to put your resources where you're getting the best result. But as far as content about your business goes, you'd never be pulling up stumps on doing that, because that is the modern currency. That's the modern currency in the modern world. That's the modern yellow pages. That's the modern advertising. You have to be there in some way. You have to have some form of presence. So I would just be looking at, remember, this is test and measure. This is tweak. Okay, right, that didn't work. Some things we do stuff that doesn't work. Come up, try a different strategy, try a different angle. You could do all sorts of things, like maybe you think, okay, is it a message thing? Is it a platform problem? Am I on the wrong platform? You have a look at the engagement on that platform. Are we doing the wrong type of content? Do people not want to know what we're doing? How can we be more valuable to people? If you're thinking of end customer value, you've just got to keep coming back. And it's looks like I said, nothing's really changed. It's walk in the customer's shoes. What do they want to know? What experience do they want? And you keep reevaluating that and say, okay, that wasn't working, but I gave it a really good run. 3 months was good. But sometimes things take longer. Sometimes things just take longer. I had a person, we did a podcast with someone. So I've got a podcast called the Franchise Everything Podcast, which is a shameless plug. But we did that. So we did our third episode, a gentleman named Sam Waller, who's got a fitness business. We did that in May last year. We're almost in November the following year. So it's 18 months. I got an email from him 3 days ago saying, can we do some more stuff because we're now starting to find that the only thing that's giving us traction in the marketplace is this long-form podcast content. Now, if I had pulled up stumps because I didn't get – I've had other feedback, obviously, but that feedback from that client was nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
You know, so that was when we did that job nearly 2 years ago. And he's come back nearly 2 years later to say it's working great, can do it. So it's taken time for that to roll through the market. And pretty much all of these internet marketers will tell you that content just takes time. 𝗘𝗽𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗏, who was the top franchise executive of the year this year, who was the CMO for the Gyms Group, has taken that business from 2,500 franchise units to 5,000 plus in about 3 years.
Incredible growth.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's
amazing growth. Yeah.
And he has said that the primary way they've done that is through video marketing. Yeah. Through social media, video marketing, shorts, long-form content and everything. But as he also says, it takes time to build and build and build and build and build because you just start getting a volume of content. So I'd say don't go like, 3 months I'm in. I think it's worthwhile to go to set yourself targets, timelines to say, okay, I want to achieve this within 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. I'd be looking at saying the way we did it with our podcast was, okay, what do I want this to look like in 12 months? Because I know that my first few podcasts weren't as good as they are now. Okay, so for example, you got to take time, and that means your audience develops over that time, and your messaging develops, and your approach develops. We simply just get better. Yeah. So I just keep cracking at it. Yeah. That's always my. Okay. I know we want the magic bullet, but no, keep pushing is the key, I think, and just keep recreating, keep refreshing your content.
So you're looking kind of at levels of engagement, viewers, and then over time, then you can start seeing some results coming in terms of business generating activity. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the way I see it as well is you can't take a single approach. Like you said before, you used to be able to just put an ad in the newspaper and then yellow pages, and that's all the advertising you need to do. Then we had websites. And then after we have websites,
and they were everything.
They were everything. So you need to have a website, and that's how you generate business. And for a time, I remember just having a website and just having some SEO and some Google ads. That's all you needed to do.
I did the job.
It did everything that yellow pages and everything that having an ad in the paper used to do. And now it's like, well, oh gosh, I've got to put all this. There's so many other platforms. There's so much other content. But the way I see it, and the way I've seen it work in our business, is sometimes where the challenge is that you don't sometimes get direct feedback in terms of like, well, someone might have come across your YouTube video or content or a podcast or this or that, and then you find that puts you on the radar, but the lead will come through on the website later on. Yeah. Or they subscribe to something and you don't know. And you said something interesting, I think, about Joel, right?
At Gyms
Group.
Yep.
And when they come in for their training, or when they start their franchise and they do their training sessions, the first thing they ask is, how did you guys hear about us first?
Where did you come across? To get some data on that. And he says 100% is always podcasts. There's always video podcasts. We watch some of your channels, we watch stuff on social. Yeah. And he says it's 100% every single time because that's where it's happening. So, and this is the thing that frustrates me, right? So we've got plenty of things frustrate me, but we've got to do with marketing, because I try and view marketing very logically. I try and think very customer oriented. And I think, sometimes I think people get too wrapped up in data. Oh, where did that lead come from? Like I would do marketing with brands, and they would do over the years with franchise buyer for lead generation, and they would have on their website, and I would look at it and they'd say, oh yeah, we're not getting many leads from you, and look at it and it would say, I said, well, how do you know? And she said, oh, because they say when. And then I go to the website and I look at it and they do a drop down and it said, where did you hear about us? Franchise business, franchise buyer, business franchise, seek franchise, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, I'm a customer. Will I remember? Will I care? Yeah. So is that reliable data to be basing all the decisions on? Yeah. Okay. So the customer doesn't really care. And everyone wants to track every single thing. And I think that people are moving away too much from a bit of good old intuition. You just know that's the right strategy to do. And I'm very big on that. No, it just makes sense that people are going to engage with that. It makes sense that people are going to see that in that environment, but the data doesn't show it. Well, I know it's good to do, so we'll keep doing it. So I balance it with a bit like that. So I care. And I've got it. a number of larger franchise brands that we're working with that we're always talking to, and I'm saying things like, why don't you do a podcast? Why don't you do some video content? Why don't you tell some franchise owner journey stories? Tell journey stories in your business. And it's the same with business owners, any business owner. And they'll say, oh, we're just rebuilding our website for franchise recruitment. And I said, well, why? And they said, oh, we should be finished in a few months. I said, well, what are you doing? Why are you taking months and months to build a franchise recruitment website? And as a result of that, you're choosing not to make content about being in your franchise until you get that done. Yeah. I can tell you right now, any business owner watching this, is that your website is not the be all and end all. You do not need every bells and whistle on it to make it work and do what you need. Landing page with simple information, great video, great content that fits to your audience and your target market will 99 times out of 100 outperform your website. A good, highly effective landing page that actually is fit for purpose to generate a lead to your business. And a lot of that is effectively in what you see in social media. Yeah. So if someone types in fridge seal repair, boom, and you come up and you say, hey, this is how we repair, blah, 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 blah. You can contact me if you want more details. They go, oh, there he is. Oh, he's in my area. Yeah. Boom, there you go.
I did that just recently. So I was, I bought an older classic car, and the roof headliner was all drooping, and I was like, oh gosh, maybe I'll do this.
Where
myself.
am I going to get this fixed?
Yeah, where am I going to get this fixed? What am I going to do? And then I searched it up because I want to know these things. How do you do this anyway? And so I did just what you said. I just searched it up on YouTube. It's like, well, how to fix a headliner. And then these guys who were in Australia were showing, oh, this is how we do it and this is our process. And I ordered samples, and I think I ended up ordering material. I won't do it myself.
No, you'll give someone else to do it.
But I got the head. I wanted a specific type
of social.
Yeah, that specific type of headliner I was looking for, and they had it, and I ordered it. So,
and this is the thing. It's like the fridge guy. Yeah. Don't think no one is interested. Yeah. Don't think no one sees any value in what you have. Everyone has some value to offer. If you've been doing it for however many years, you're an expert in that thing. Yeah. And I wouldn't know how to fix a fridge seal. I wouldn't have a clue, but I wish someone would show me how to do it, because it's always cracking and I need someone to come and fix it. Yeah. So that's that. I know I've used that example quite a bit, but it's the most basic one to show that there is room for content on every topic in every business. And I think in looking at specifically what we help people with a lot is franchise recruitment, finding franchise owners to buy businesses. I've identified like a matrix of 80 topics that apply to any franchise business about what it is like to be in that business that you could do content on. So even if you only did one video on each part of that, that is 80 videos on being in that business. Anything from community, what community engagement that franchise has, which makes it feel good to be part of it. Anything from this is how we train. Anything from this is the support you get in the field. This is the account support you get. All these things are separate pieces of content. That content might be 30 seconds. It might be an hour. Doesn't make any difference. And then if it is an hour, then you cut it down into 50 pieces, and there you go. You've got 50 pieces of content.
Yeah. And these are the burning questions that people have about buying a franchise or buying a business, because people don't want to go for a salesperson anymore. They actually want to. They want
hands off. They're all hands off.
They want to before they interact, because they know as soon as they put fill in
email or a phone
form, there's like, oh, I'm going to get hounded. I'm going to get tired. I'm going to have a meeting with someone. Someone wants to sell me it, and I don't want to be sold to. They actually would like to I want to see what this is before I even engage or talk with you. And I think that's probably one of the difficulties, like I mentioned before, about the measuring the success.
Yeah.
Because there will be that time lag where you're going to catch it. And again, you need a library of content before someone goes through it all and says,
this is what I'm talking about, marketing intuition.
Yeah.
You know that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You just know it.
Yeah.
I don't care whatever stats you can show me. If you're urban cleaning, if you've got a whole bunch of videos on there about how good you guys are at cleaning, or you're providing hacks on how to do this, and you've got interviews with all your franchise partners, interviews with customers and everything, you are trusted. You're a player. You're a big player in it. So immediately we're getting over those issues of trust, because people will do business with you and buy from you if they trust you. Depending on what the transaction level is, they'll buy a packet of gum off anyone, obviously.
Yeah, that's right.
But they'll do it if they trust you. And if you've developed trust, and that is developed through authority and expertise and showing personalities and showing yourself, you're 80% and 90% of the way there in any business of any size. Really. I mean, and this is what frustrates me in marketing is I think it is so damn simple that it just takes implementation. It's a bit of help and a bit of implementation.
Yeah, perfect. So where to from here, Glenn?
Where to here? Probably filming more content. So as you know, we've got our own podcast up and running. We've just taken possession of a new office in Springwood in Brisbane, so smack bang between Gold Coast and Brisbane. So for franchisors, it's called Franchise Business Hub, and we've got a studio out there. It's a community for franchise executives because I think franchise executives need a place to get together. We always do it like a breakfast at different hotels, but we want a bit of a spot where people can come together. So we're working a lot on that, and we're helping clients there. So as part of what we're doing there in that content studio there that we're creating is we'll be filming franchise shows, TV shows, well, not TV shows, but I consider YouTube TV. Because I watch it on my TV. So, a lot of video content for brands, doing a lot of podcasts and that sort of stuff there, and just helping people grow and get their message out there. Because I think that's the key is that, and you mentioned the word friction. What we try to do is help people's message to be as clear as possible, to tell the things that are great about what they do, because we all think it's great what we do. We all do great things as part of our business. We want to try and help elicit that from people, that they can get that message out to the audience and remove the friction of the process of them doing that to make it as easy as possible to say, hey, we've got 5 ideas for you to create content for you. We can help you do that. Or we can just chat about the ideas and away you go. Because we're not afraid. There's heaps of ways to create content out there. You can do it all on your own. But if we can be part in some way, playing a role in that, that's what we want in the future, working with many of franchise brands, working with many small businesses and just helping them create content so they can grow their businesses in the marketplace and help as many people out there in what they do. That's us.
Wow. And if someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do that?
I find the best way is just Glenn Walford hit me up on LinkedIn. Search me on LinkedIn, you'll find we've got all the franchising stuff there and everything there. We're also franchisebuyer.com.au is our website, and also franchisebusinesshub.com.au. So you'll also see us there. And if you want to reach out and say hi.
Thanks very much, Glenn. Thanks for your time. It's been great chatting, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode of Clean Up in Business.